Have you ever felt that med school is like an endless grind that never seems to finish? What if I tell you that you could study so fast that it actually feels illegal? In this video, I'm going to reveal to you top strategies that top students use in med school to achieve the best results in half the time of actually studying. There's no fluff in this video. These strategies that I will share with you are backed by science. Let's dive right in. You are stressed, surrounded by medical textbooks everywhere. You have your highlighters in a perfect order of the ones you use with the most color to the least highlighters you use, and you are desperate. You are studying the whole day, trying to remember as much information as you can. I can definitely relate to this. When I was a medical student, I would study 12, 13 hours a day, and the next day I would just forget everything. And I had a friend of mine in med school. He was in my year. Let's call him the cheat code. And he would study half the time that I would be studying, and he would achieve much better results than me. And I would think that he had some secret notes, that he had like summaries that he bought from higher year students or something like this. But actually, he was just studying in a completely different way that I did at the time. And once I discovered that, it really made my studying 10 times faster. The truth is, most medical students, they focus on memorization instead of actually learning how to learn. But once you actually understand how your brain learns and retains information, studying becomes 10 times more efficient. Here's how to do it. Technique number one is active recall. I'm sure you can relate to this when you're studying your notebook and you are reading your notes again and again, trying to stick the information to your brain. But you see, the problem with this is that your brain needs to struggle in order to keep the information in your long-term memory. When you are reading your notes, when you are doing notes, when you are reading the textbook, this is actually a passive way of learning, and it's not actually effortful for your brain to learn. Here is where active recall plays a role. You have to constantly test yourself when you're actually studying. It has to be around, I would say, 50-50. So 50% you're reading and 50% you're testing yourself. And a very good app to use for this, actually it's a gold mine, it's called Anki. And a lot of medical students praise this app, and there's a very good reason for it, because you can constantly test yourself on the information you're learning, and there's even decks that you can find online completely for free for subjects from med school that you can use. I recommend Anking. It has like some really good guides and also explanations on how to use it. The second technique is what I call the memory glue, which is basically spaced repetition. You have to repeat the information that you study in regular intervals. For example, you can set every 3 days and every week and every 2 weeks to repeat the same amount of information with active recall, which is basically you will test yourself again, as we've said before. And this actually forces your brain to understand that this information is important because you are repeating it again. And of course, this is why when a lot of medical students, they study and they cram the day before the exam just to pass the exam, but after they pass the exam, the day later, they completely forget already like 60%, and after 1 week they have completely forgot everything that they are studying. So the trick here is to use spaced repetition to actually retain the information for a longer amount of time, and the information from the exam will actually help you for the exams in the future, because in med school everything is connected actually to each other. So the stuff you're learning in the first year, you are going to use again in the second, third, and fourth year, because just imagine you are building a house. First you lay down the foundations, right? First you will get to the first floor, then you're gonna make the second floor, third floor, and so on. So the same way it works in med school, where the first year you have the basic subjects, and then you slowly build up your knowledge. The third technique is called the teach-back method, which is the final, you can imagine it as the final boss move, the teach-back method. And it's basically where you have to teach it to a friend of yours. You can also record yourself saying the information, and this is called also the Feynman technique, where you can imagine yourself teaching it to a 5-year-old, and this will make sure you understand the information where you can successfully explain it to another friend of yours or a colleague of yours. And you can even do sessions where you are studying for 1 or 2 hours, and then for the next 1 to 2 hours you are explaining the information to each other. So if you want to study so fast that it will feel illegal to your friends in medical school, then remember to use active recall, spaced repetition, and the teach-back method. If you find this video useful, make sure to like the video and subscribe. It gives me motivation to keep going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.